Hello, and welcome to our training on how to run ESG reports using the new InfoNet system updates. So I've already run this report, I've already run this training a few times and realized due to some technical issues, I've had to redo it. So what I've decided to do this time is go through in the entire bulk of how to run the report, and then after that, skip to how to troubleshoot some common data issues that might arise and might impact your reports. So I think what we'll do is hopefully put a note in the description telling you skip to this point if you just want to know how to troubleshoot. But right off the bat, we're going to jump into how to run the actual reports themselves. But if you're looking just to troubleshoot and you know how to run the report, you just saw something weird come up in your report, hopefully look in the description and that'll allow you to jump forward to a time when I'm talking about how to deal with some issues that might arise. So first off, if you're new to HUD reports, in other words, never requested them from me before, you might have to do one extra little iota of setup before you're good to run. And that is click this little gear at the top, go to Center Information on the dropdown, and at the very bottom of Center Information, make sure the COC and the geocode that HUD had provided you is entered, and then click Save. So if you've already requested a report from me before, these should already be programmed in. But if you either are new to HUD reports, or for whatever reason that I've never seen before, maybe your COC or geocode changed, this would be the area to do it. So just you would enter them, whatever they're supposed to be, then click Save. So to run the actual HUD reports, we will click the Reports dropdown and then go to Funder-specific reports. So today we're purely going to be covering ESG reports. But pretty soon, within the coming months, in other words, by mid-2024, you should have the ability to run TH and RRH reports as well. So there's a few areas you'll have to know on the screen. So I wouldn't count it in areas to know, but you can select different output types. I'm always fine just letting it have HTML as the output, and this should work for you. I wouldn't recommend changing that unless you have a specific reason why you're trying to change that. So just like any report, you'll have to select the date range. Typically, when any of you have reached out to me, it's been a 1-year range, give or take. But for our purposes today, I'm going to have our date range go from start of 2010 to the very end of 2022. Next up is the center selection area. So if your center has satellites in addition to its parent center, there will be multiple options and only the parent center is going to be selected by default. Unless you have reason to do otherwise, I would always recommend selecting every center you see here. I would recommend doing that by default. On occasion, though, you might want to include people that only received shelter or services at a given location. So if that's the case, say I want only people that were sheltered at our satellite location, I would make sure only DV training satellite is checked off here. And again, that would provide only people that received on-site or off-site shelter at the location of our DV training satellite. But unless you're specifically going in knowing that's what you want to do, I would recommend checking off all the options in center selection. Next, we can go to report selection, where you can check off either APR or CAPR. And checking this off determines what files get included in the output that is provided to HUD. The vast majority of ESG reports, which we'll be covering today, are CAPRs. So unless you specifically know otherwise that I need an ESG report that is an APR, I would recommend always checking CAPER when you're running a report. And finally, once you check one of these two options, you'll see the HUD report settings come up here. This will select what report you're providing. And this determines the criterion for deciding who appears in the report. So today, because it's the only one currently up and running, we'll be using emergency solution grants or ESG reports. And these are all people in off-site or on-site shelter during the period. But in the future, you might be interested in running, once it's up and running, you might be interested in running transitional housing reports. These are typically APR, in APR format, and these provide all people receiving housing advocacy or transitional housing during that period, report period, as I'm led to believe. So for these reports, it's especially important to be diligent about making sure you enter housing advocacy for a child when their parent is also receiving housing advocacy. And that might seem a little bit counterintuitive, right? Because it's not like your staff member is going to be specifically working with a 2 or 3-year-old or a 5-year-old or a 10-year-old for housing advocacy. But since those children are going to benefit, and this is important to make sure they appear in that transitional housing report when we're able to run them, make sure that is up to date. And finally, there's rapid rehousing. And if you're going to be doing rapid rehousing at any point once that ability is up and running, I do want to point to one extra thing you should make sure to do. So I'm just going to go to New Adult Intake. And if you look now, you'll see there's a program enrollment field. And this is where you would actually enter when that adult or when that individual, not just an adult, but a child could qualify too, was enrolled in your rapid rehousing program, as well as the end date if applicable. Because this program enrollment is going to be used to determine who appears in RRH reports, again, once we're able to run them. But since ESGs or emergency solution grants are the only reports up and running currently, we're just going to click this. And here's a quick summary of what you will have to enter. You'll have to enter a date range, have to make a report selection, typically CAPER for ESG reports, and have to select a HUD project type. Optional you can pick is you can select which centers to include, but by default, I would recommend checking off all your centers, including all satellite locations. And in the future, we're going to have you'll also have the ability way at this bottom of the screen here to filter by a specific shelter or service type. And the one time I can see you might wanting to do that is if you're one of those centers that have reached out to me and said, Caleb, we want a report, but only for off-site shelter clients or only for on-site shelter clients. This forthcoming filter will allow you to filter only by a specific service type. And finally, you'll be able to filter by clients. So there'll be a little pane where if you check client filter, you'll be able to provide a list of client codes, all separated by a comma. And this will tell the report only to include clients listed there. So this is forthcoming. At the moment, if you need to filter by certain clients or by a specific type of shelter, you're going to have to reach out to me to do it. But hopefully soon, by the very least by the end of the first half of 2024, there should be a filter option for you to do this by yourself. So be on the lookout for that when it's up and running. Okay. So let's run the report. It'll take a couple seconds to run. You'll see it pop up. You'll see stuff like its date range, that it's a CAPER rather than APR, that it's a ESG report. You'll see there are 43 folders listed here. 42 of them are what gets provided to HUD via a CAPER, when a CAPER report is asked for. And then there is this Q5A records that doesn't get provided to HUD, but it's useful for troubleshooting. So anything having to do with these individual folders, we'll get to in a second when we move on to the troubleshooting portion of this training. But for now, all you have to know is clicking that button and then downloading the zip file. So I'm going to click download the zip file. It'll show up here. You'll see there are, show up here at the very top. You can ignore everything else here. This is from something I was doing previously from an unrelated thing. If you are working on Chrome like I am and you have settings similar to what I do, will probably get this insecure download blocked notification, but you can ignore that and click keep, which will download the actual report. So now that report will be available in my download area. You can see it right here. Actually, I'm gonna invert the date modified so it shows up at the very top. Oops. And we'll talk about what to do with this in a second. But let's say, like I said, vast majority, probably 95%, if not above, of ESG reports are in CAPER format. But hypothetically, say you were asked to provide an ESG report in APR format, you would do everything we just did here. Could change the date, obviously, if there's different date, etc. But you would just click on APR as the format, click generate. Same deal, it'll take a second to run. One thing you'll notice is when we run APR reports, there are 73 total reports, the 72 that get provided to HUD, plus Q5A records, whereas when we run a CAPER, there are 43. So this is primarily what selecting CAPER or APR does. It determines what tables, what folders get provided to HUD because they have different different information entailed with them. And selecting HUD report settings determines criterion for who gets included in the report. So again, I've already run this CAPER report. I've already downloaded the zip file. So once you download that zip file, maybe you want to do troubleshooting to just make sure all the values look appropriate. But when you're ready, you can submit it either directly to HUD or you can submit it through the testing site, which I'm going to show you right here. So this is the testing site that in the past, I've run the reports through them to make sure they're in working order before I provide them to you. Because obviously, I don't have access to the specific link that HUD provides you. But this site right here is useful to test it before you submit to HUD. And I'll ask them to put this actual link in the description that you see below this training. So when you click this link, click the report type. We're going to be testing a CAPER. You'll be asked to check that you're not a robot. You might be along with this, you might have to click off some traffic lights, the standard I'm not a robot test. You'll choose your file. In my downloads, I have this ESG CAPER waiting for me right here. Click upload and test. And if all goes according to plan, you should have this note that the upload has passed all validations. You don't, we'll talk about what we'll talk about in the second half of this training, what to do to troubleshoot that. But you'll get that note about your report. You'll see the report identifiers such as your organization's name, its COC and geocode. And then finally, below that, you'll see the summary of what's in table Q5. We'll look at this a bit more in depth in a second when we talk about troubleshooting, but this provides you with your list of people served, as well as people that fall into various categories. So let's do a quick reminder of what is coming soon. Coming soon, you will have the ability to filter either by service type or client codes. And soon you'll also have the ability to run TH and RRH reports. Both these should be up by mid-year, mid-2024. And here's a quick summary of why you still might have to contact Jen or myself at the help desk. So with this up, you no longer, or at least far more rarely, will have to reach out to me to run these reports. But here are some reasons why you still might have to reach out to Jen or myself. So first off is any unresolved questions with running HUD ESG reports. I tried making this as thorough as possible, but I know there might still be some unresolved questions you have. Secondly, any ESG reports needing filters. When the filter isn't, as long as the filter isn't up and running, those will have to run through me. And now I think we should move on to the troubleshooting area of this training. So it's possible when you use this testing site, Sage testing site here, you might get one of two error messages, which you should send along to me. So the first type of error message is you might be told that you have you don't have the proper year's reporting specifications in that report. So here I have an example of what would happen. So here's an old file, an old ESG file, old ESG file that I'm going to run. When I hit upload and test, it gets this message that Sage requires a CSV upload in this fiscal year's format, but you provided a different fiscal year's format. So this could happen to you, and it'll typically happen around October or November when HUD switches over to the new fiscal year's programming specifications. And if either we've haven't uploaded, if we either haven't updated the programming specifications in the InfoNet interface soon enough, or maybe we updated them too quickly and you need a report to the previous year's programming specifications, you're going to get a message like this. If you get this message, copy and paste it, send it along to me via the help desk email, and I will work with you to get the programming specifications you need. Typically, I would see this happening in either October or November when the switchover occurs. But if it ever comes up even outside of those months, just reach out to me and let me know, and make sure to copy and paste this along to me, as well as send details about the report you were trying to run. The second thing you might see is maybe there are other error messages in the report. This might happen if there are issues in our code that cause contradictions when the report is running its verification system on it. So once again, I have an example of what this might look like. Here's an example with errors I'm going to run. And you'll get validation errors that look like this, where it tells you the total in one table does not match the total in another table, even though these should match. And if this is ever the case, same deal, copy and paste, copy the validation error messages you get, send it as a message to Jen or myself at the help desk, as well as just details about what report you were running. And then we'll go through the code and try to figure out what those errors, why those errors came to be. So those are the two error messages you might get where the HUD system will actually reach out and warn you that there are issues occurring that you need to see. However, there might be data issues that HUD wouldn't recognize, HUD wouldn't be able to recognize on their end, but you have the ability either to prevent or diagnose on your own end. So there's two ways you can prevent common data issues. So this report is really premised on you being very diligent in using the household feature. And that is when I'm gonna just open up the window. So that is adding children to share a household with their adult, with the adult that they arrive for services or for shelter with. So this is not a new feature. It's been something that's been available for years and years, but with HUD reports, especially with you running the reports themselves, it's especially important that you use this new feature. Sounds like Jen pretty soon is going to be recording a training specifically for the household feature itself. So I won't go too in depth into how to use the feature, but just be sure that you pay attention to Jen's training and make sure to be very up to date and diligent about using the household feature. The other preventative thing you can do is identify and address clients that have open and lengthy shelter stays. So occasionally your center might have been one of them where I might have reached out to you and said, hey, I noticed you have this unaccompanied child listed as being in your shelter and appearing in the report. Is this actually accurate? And typically what happens in cases like that is sometimes staff will, when a family exits shelter, sometimes staff will occasionally either forget to enter the exit date, or they'll only enter the exit date for the parent and forget to update the children's client service record. So that can result in people appearing in your ESG report that shouldn't be in there. But there is this nice little tool that's been existing for a while that can help you, if you run it as a preventative measure, maybe once or twice a year, it can help you make sure that those people aren't slipping into your HUD reports. So that feature is available as an exception report. So you would click Reports, Exception, and let's just check off every center. And it's this report called Open and Lengthy Shelter Dates. It's something maybe you've run before previously, but if you haven't already, I would recommend running it maybe once or twice a year. So after you check that off, you can ask it to identify shelter stays that exceed a given number of days. So maybe for your center, it would be rare for anyone to be in shelter past 60 days or 90 days. I'm going to ask it to identify everyone who is listed as in shelter for over 365 days at a span, or in other words, over a year. You'll click Generate. It'll give you these reports. There will be two halves to it. The top half will tell you what I'm highlighting right here. This will show you every client that has an end date entered for their shelter, but their shelter end date is over a year after their shelter begin date. So these are people that, yeah, they do have an end date, but maybe it's possible that there was someone just mistyped because they have a really long total shelter stay. And if any of those doesn't seem right, for instance, here's someone that supposedly entered shelter in 2013, exited it in 2018. If that doesn't seem right, you can just use this client's client code, look up their service record and update their service record. But even more problematic and more to be look out for is the second half of information. These are clients that have a shelter begin date, but have no shelter end date entered for them. So for instance, this client 08OC1, supposedly entered shelter in 2005 and never exited that shelter. So that's almost certainly just a staff member forgot to put their exit date for them. And if this is the case, I would recommend going through these people where the shelter end date is not closed, and if any of them should have a shelter end date, enter their client service record and then rerun the report. So these are two useful tools that are more preventative, but I'm also going to go over some ways you can diagnose after you run the report. You can find issues with the report and diagnose them yourself. So let's just get that CAPER, let's go get that ESG CAPER report like we did previously. And I'll point out right now that ESG CAPER is right here in my downloads folder. So one thing you can do, you rarely want to do this, but on rare occasion you might want to, is you can actually right click, go to extract all, click extract. It'll take a second. And now this is the unzipped folder where you can open any of the files and actually edit them. So say I ran this and I realized, oh, I entered the wrong, maybe I ran this and I realized, oh, I entered the wrong COC number, which is what appears in table Q4A. I can unzip the folder, open up table Q4A, and maybe instead of it being IL 999, maybe it's supposed to be IL 777. I could do that. Save it. Then go back out, delete the old zipped file, right click the unzipped folder that I edited, go to send to, go to compressed folder, and now you've essentially manually edited the file. I would recommend doing this very rarely and only if it's something small like this where you know you accidentally entered the wrong COC or geocode. But you could unzip a folder and look at or change any of the files in that folder. You can also, using this view here, you can also download any individual tables in the individual Excel file as a standalone table. So maybe I want to look at table Q5A. I will download it. I will open it up now. Just going to make this a little bit bigger so we can all read it. Okay. So table Q5A is a good summary of everyone who appeared in that file. So this will tell you the total number of people served, how many of them were adults, how many were children, how many at unknown ages, how many are classified as leavers. A leaver is a person that exited shelter during the report span, and how many are stayers. A stayer is someone who was still in shelter by the end date of the report. It has information about number of youth under 25, number of adult heads of households. So you can look at these, see if any of these, all of these kind of match up with, generally speaking, with what you were expecting. The final two rows are useful for troubleshooting. So number of child and unknown age head of households. This will be useful for identifying if there's any household that appears to be headed by a child. Typically, this happens if you haven't been very diligent about using the household feature. And if you don't use a household feature to link a child to an adult in the same household, those children are going to show up as being in child-headed households. So if you see a large number here, like we have, just because we're not very, we typically don't like, when we're testing out data using our testing site, we're not really making a full narrative for any case. We're just kind of testing out whether any feature is running into bugs. But if you see if you see a large chunk like we're seeing here of people being listed as child or unknown age head of households, that's typically indicative of a problem. And also here, This will tell you the number of households and adult stayers in the project 365 days or more. In other words, people whose shelter stay exceeded 365 days, exceeded a year. And if you see a large number here, like we're seeing, once again, that's probably indicative of open or lengthy shelter stays. So I would recommend going and running that exception report. You could also look at really any other table. So say hypothetically you want to look at what's going on in table Q23C. I'm going to download that, open it up. Oh. And we might not be sure offhand, right, what table Q23C is actually measuring. So this handy little link, which I will also ask them to put this beneath the video in the description, is also useful if you really ever want to know what any given table is measuring or reporting to HUD. Again, a lot of what I'm talking now is stuff you'll rarely, if ever, need to use, but it's good to have in your tool belt. So here I can click the top link here, give it a second to download. And this is essentially the summary for programming, and it'll tell you what any given table is measuring and who gets included in that table. So again, we're interested in, I'm looking at the table of contents right here. We're interested in table Q23C, but any table you're interested in, if you check exit destination, if you click it, it'll tell you what it's measuring. So this is reporting exit destination. This will tell you what every column and row should be. Same deal we see here. It's telling you what every column and row should be. And also, if you scroll to the bottom, right underneath it, it'll say universe. And this is essentially who should be included in this table. So this is saying this table should include people who are leavers, in other words, who left shelter during the report's date range. It's interested in, well, what type of destination did they exit to? And obviously now you can look at this table and see for any given individual, what type of destination did they exit to? So one person exited to a substance abuse treatment facility or detox center. 4 wound up staying with family temporarily. You could go through it, also tell you the total number of leavers, total people exiting to positive housing destinations, et cetera, et cetera. So if you're ever really curious, you could go here and look it up. The final thing I'll talk about, and the final thing that's kind of probably the biggest thing needed for troubleshooting, is this Q5A records table. Like I said, this isn't actually provided to HUD, but it's a table that gives us some pretty comprehensive summary of every given client's information that was used to fill all these other 42 tables we're looking at. So we're going to click download it. I'm going to open it up. I'm going to just bold and underline the column headers, and I'm going to freeze the top row just so I can scroll down easily. So what this table is every row, you see here, this has 84 rows. So every row aside from the first is a unique client that appeared in this report. So every row represents a client that appeared in the report. So one thing you can do with this is you can look through and see if every client you expected to appear in the report did appear, or you can also maybe identify whether any client that you expected to appear in that report is conspicuously absent. There's a lot of other information here, like it'll tell you the client's shelter begin date, shelter end date, things like that. But For troubleshooting, I think the two biggest columns that you'll be interested in is what is in column Y, called household type, and what is in column Z, titled shelter stay status. So remember, you might remember I said very rarely, if ever, do you want to see a child-only household. So this will tell you when when a household is child only or adult only, or maybe, as we see here, has children and adults. So here, this is a child only household. And what this is indicative of is probably someone forgot to use the household feature and add this child to a household. I guess one other column of interest might be this household ID feature. And any person that isn't added to a household, instead what their household ID is going to have is going to be called is G underscore and then some number. And this is saying that the system, just because they don't have an actual household entered, it just manually kind of made this one person household for them. But say we have this person, they're listed as a child only household, and we think they should actually be in a household. So we can look at their client code, and then using that household training, which Jen's going to get up pretty soon, you could copy this client code and make sure that they're added to a household along with the adult or parent or guardian they arrived with, and as well as any other siblings they might be arriving to shelter with. So again, if you don't have household information entered, it's just going to put them in a household of one, which it'll title like this. But anyone that actually has household information is going to have a standalone number rather than G underscore some number. So these three people, which I made recently and literally called them ESG test B, ESG test C1, and ESG test C2, they all belong to the same household. We can see right here, it's an adult and child household. And I can look that up right here under households. Yep. Here, just as an example for this training, I added them all to the same household, and they look good to go. The other thing you might wind up using this to troubleshoot, or the other most likely thing you might wind up using this to troubleshoot, is whether someone is a leaver or a stayer. So maybe when you're looking at the summary, the counts of leavers or stayers are a little bit off from what you were expecting. This column will tell you for every row, for every given client, whether that client is considered to be a leaver or a stayer. And if you see, for instance, if this client is listed as a leaver, but knowing what we know about client 0001V, we expected them to be a stayer, that might be indicative that there's some erroneous information in their service and shelter history, and we need to go edit that information, maybe edit an end date or edit a new shelter begin date, depending on the situation, and then rerun the report. So if anyone is a leaver, you can see their shelter end date, the last time they exited shelter, listed in column M. So again, everything I've gone over here with table Q5A records, vast majority of the time, like 98% of the time, you won't have to worry about any of this. But if the counts ever seem off, if you ever are seeing a lot of child-headed households or more leavers or more stayers than you expected, you can download this, open it up, and look around inside. So let's just a quick summary of, again, why you still might need to reach out to Jen or myself at the InfoNet Help Desk. Again, if there's any unresolved questions I didn't cover here, please reach out to me. Any ESG reports that need filters, as long as the filter feature isn't up, you'll have to reach out to me. I also have to reach out to me if you need a TH or RRH report at the moment, as well as reach out to me if you notice any error messages like needing a different fiscal year's report, or you get error messages that the validation system found that two cells which should be the same aren't the same. So that concludes this training. Thank you for your time. And like I said, don't hesitate to reach out to Jen or myself if you see any of these issues pop up. Good. Thank you.